In 2024, more than 40,000 motorcycles were stolen in the US, and most of those thefts took less than a minute. That's not a statistic meant to scare you for fun. It's a reminder. Opportunistic thieves hunt the easy targets, the bikes left unlocked, visible, or just sitting in the wrong position for 30 seconds. One rider parked for an hour, came back, and found only a broken disc lock on the pavement. It happens fast, but it also happens avoidably. The difference between a target and a lost bike is rarely a $100 alarm or a weekend install. It's a habit you can form in 1 second. This video isn't about gimmicks or expensive gear. It's about practical, legal, instantly deployable tactics that turn your bike from grab and go into not worth the trouble. Some are physical tricks, some are psychological. All are designed to cut a thief's confidence and steal time to pieces. Over the next few minutes, I'll walk you through 11 secret tactics pros use to stop theft cold. Things you can do now, in a second or two, every time you park. Use 2 or 3 together, and you'll make your bike someone else's last choice. Stay with me. These are the moves that actually work. Number 11. Anchor the chassis, not the wheel. Most riders instinctively loop a chain through the rear wheel and call it secure. It feels right, easy to do, quick to lock, and out of sight. The problem is the thief knows that trick. A determined pair with basic tools can remove a wheel or lift the bike in under a minute. And suddenly that chain has protected nothing more than a spare rim. Real security starts where the bike is strongest, the frame. Threading a hardened chain through a load-bearing section of the chassis, or the swing arm, changes the math completely. The frame is the structural backbone of the motorcycle. It's not designed to come off the way a wheel is. If the chain runs through a solid part of the frame and is anchored to an immovable object, an embedded ground loop, a lamppost, or a purpose-built garage anchor, stealing the bike becomes a loud, slow, and tool-heavy operation. That's the exact opposite of what an opportunist thief wants. They're looking for speed and low risk. Anchoring the chassis forces noise, time, and attention. Choose points that are integral to the bike's structure, not bolt-on accessories. The swing arm or a reinforced section of the frame near the engine offers the best balance of access and strength, because cutting or removing those areas takes more time and specialized tools than a quick bolt cutter can provide. Use a hardened chain and a quality shackle rated for the task. Flimsy hardware is only an invitation. Keep the chain taut so there's no slack for leverage or pry space, and position the anchor so the bike must be lifted or dismantled to move it. This method isn't about a single lock that looks intimidating. It's about fundamentally changing how easy your bike is to take. When you make the theft require effort, noise, and specialized tools, you push it out of the grab-and-go category and into the category of jobs thieves avoid. In other words, anchoring through the chassis doesn't just stop theft. It makes your motorcycle someone else's problem. Number 10. Use a low-profile ground anchor. If you want to stop a thief before they even get started, make the problem start under their feet. A low-profile ground anchor bolted into concrete turns a casual snatch into a noisy, obvious job. It's the difference between a thief lifting a bike into a van in 30 seconds and them having to cut, grind, or rip up concrete while everyone notices. That's exactly the kind of attention they avoid. A good ground anchor doesn't shout expensive, it just looks permanent. From the street, it reads as a fixed, immovable point that will take tools and time to defeat. That perception alone deters many opportunists. But beyond psychology, a properly installed anchor provides a solid, reliable point to loop a hardened chain or shackle through the frame. When the bike is literally attached to the earth beneath it, wheels and quick-release tricks don't matter. The work becomes messy, loud, and slow. 3 things thieves hate. Think about placement. Install anchors where you park most often. A garage corner, a carport slab, or the edge of a driveway. Make sure the concrete is structurally sound. Thin or crumbling slabs won't hold up under force. Use a purpose-built, hardened anchor and high-grade anchors, or through bolts designed for vehicle loads. Cheap deck screws or retrofit hacks compromise the whole idea. For renters, there are low-profile options that grip or bolt into portable plates, but always check permissions before drilling into shared property. Legal headaches defeat the purpose. Visibility matters too. An anchor that's easy to see communicates that this bike is deliberate property, but also design it so it doesn't snag clothing or trip customers. Low and flush is the goal. After installation, run your chain in a way that leaves minimal slack and positions the shackle against the anchor body to frustrate direct tool access. Maintain the anchor. Lubricate moving shackles, inspect for corrosion, and replace any worn hardware. A ground anchor isn't a silver bullet, but it fundamentally changes the equation. It converts your parking spot into a hardened point that eats time, noise, and tools. Everything a thief wants to avoid. When you make stealing your bike noticeably harder than walking down the block to an easier target, you win without having to be there to watch it. Number 9. Conceal trackers in non-obvious places. A tracker in plain sight is useless. A clever thief will spot it in seconds and rip it out. The real power comes from cleverly hidden, redundant trackers placed where hunters don't think to look. Tuck a compact tracker inside the tail light housing, slip another under the seat pan, and hide a third within a fairing cavity. When one device is found and discarded, the others keep working, giving you the position data you need to act fast. Redundancy is the secret here. A single tracker can fail, its battery can die, or an opportunist can tear it out if they find it. Multiple tiny units in different locations mean one missed discovery doesn't cost you the whole bike. Modern trackers are small, magnetized, and run on long-life batteries or rechargeable cells. Some report motion alerts instantly. Others provide continuous GPS pings. Mixing types gives you a balance of stealth and responsiveness. Concealment isn't just about hiding parts. It's about placing devices where water, heat, and vibration won't quickly kill them, and where removing them would require panel removal or tools, time the thief normally doesn't have. Installation should be discreet and thoughtful. Use existing cavities or non-structural voids, secure units with adhesive or small brackets, and route antennas so they're not fully shielded by metal. Test every placement. Drive a short distance, check the signal, and confirm you get the update where you expect. Trackers are only useful if they report reliably. Consider paid services that offer live tracking, geofences, and theft mode alerts. The small subscription cost is often worth the speed of recovery. Finally, know the limits. Trackers don't physically stop theft, they change the outcome. They shorten recovery time and increase the odds police can recover the machine intact. If your device reports movement, notify authorities immediately rather than attempting a solo recovery. Used correctly, with multiple hidden units, sensible battery management, and regular testing, trackers turn a quick theft into a solvable crime instead of a total loss. Number 8. Install a dual-action hidden kill. A single hidden kill switch is clever. A dual-action kill is strategic. Instead of just breaking the ignition, wire a stealth switch that interrupts both the ignition circuit and the fuel solenoid or fuel pump simultaneously. That way, a thief who knows how to bypass one circuit still runs into a second unexpected barrier. It turns a simple hot wiring job into a frustrating, time-consuming puzzle. And time is what thieves don't have. Placement is everything. A truly effective kill is tucked where casual tampering won't find it, under the seat, behind a fairing panel, or recessed inside a tool tube. The goal is to force panel removal or underseat access rather than a quick jiggle of the starter wires. Make it small and discreet. Use a switch with a low profile, or disguise it as a factory screw or dummy connector. so it blends into the bike's stock hardware. If someone has to remove bodywork at night under pressure, you've already won. That doesn't mean you should jury rig anything. Use proper rated components, sealed connectors, and heat-resistant wiring. Sloppy installs create reliability and safety issues. If you're not comfortable with electronics, have a trusted shop do the work and ask for a clean schematic you can keep. Test the system thoroughly. Flip the kill at idle, try starting, and confirm both ignition and fuel are disrupted without introducing error codes or electrical faults. Consider using a keyed or magnetic switch for stealth. Magnetic switches don't look like switches at all and require a matching magnet to operate. There are modern, legal alternatives too. Smart immobilizers that require a paired fob or app confirmation, and programmable ECU lockouts that only allow starting under certain conditions. They add complexity for thieves while keeping operation simple for you. One rider I know left his bike in a high-theft zone. 2 would-be thieves spent 10 minutes trying to start it before walking off. He flipped the kill once, and the bike sat untouched. Finally, remember the purpose: not to create invulnerability, but to raise the cost and time of theft so the thief moves on. Dual-action hidden kills are low visibility, low impact to daily use, and high payoff. Small habits that turn a quick snatch into an impossible job. If one of these tactics caught your eye, tap the like button and drop a quick comment. Which 2 will you use tonight? Number 7. Decouple the battery fast. If you want a 1-second habit that kills a theft dead, nothing beats a quick battery disconnect. Fit a tamper-resistant disconnect under the seat so you can pull it in a heartbeat when you park. The effect is immediate. Without battery power, the starter, EFI systems, and most modern immobilizers won't engage. To a thief, it looks like the owner knows what they're doing. An obvious red flag that this bike won't be an easy score. The trick is making the disconnect both accessible to you and hidden from someone glancing under the seat. A recessed lever, twist knob, or keyed shutoff mounted inside the seat pan does the job. When you park, flip it. When you return, flip it back, and go. It's simple, low cost, and ridiculously effective because it changes the bike's state in a way hot wiring can't reliably overcome without tools and time. Thieves want to get in and out. An unpowered bike forces them to try more complicated work or move on. Installation should be robust. Use a unit designed for vehicle battery isolation, with proper current rating and a secure mount so it can't be wrenched free. Protect connections with heat shrink tubing and sealed terminals to avoid corrosion, and route the kill so it doesn't interfere with normal maintenance. Pick a style that resists accidental tripping. Nothing kills confidence like a bike that won't start because a switch was bumped. For renters or those who prefer non-permanent modifications, consider a tamper-resistant quick disconnect that sits inside a locked box under the seat. It's slower to access, but still stops a thief during a quick grab. There's also an element of signaling at play. A visible, deliberate disconnect tells an experienced thief that this owner takes security seriously. Combined with other tactics, an anchored chain, a hidden kill, or a tracker, the disconnect becomes part of a layered defense that turns a fast theft into a project. Finally, test it. Use the disconnect every time for a week until flipping it becomes reflex, and check that no warning lights or error codes remain when you reconnect. A 1-second pull, done consistently, turns your battery from a vulnerability into a last-second, high-value defense. Number 6. VIN etch and photographed part inventory. When a bike is stripped and sold in pieces, thieves rely on anonymity. They count on parts being indistinguishable from the thousands of other used components on the market. VIN etching and a photographed parts inventory remove that anonymity. Marking engine cases, swing arms, and major components with a visible VIN or traceable ID turns those parts into red flags for fences and chop shops. And photographing part numbers with date-stamped images builds a paper trail that's hard to ignore. The power of this tactic isn't just technical, it's psychological. A visibly etched engine case tells a would-be thief that this bike is tracked and documented. Dealers and private buyers are less likely to touch marked parts, and stolen parts with serials and photos are far harder to sell quickly. That delay in visibility is exactly what increases the risk for the thief. Over time, that increased risk is the thing that keeps opportunists moving down the street to softer targets. Do it thoughtfully. Choose places on major components that are visible enough to deter tampering, but also resistant to simple filing. Deep, permanent etching on the engine case, the steering head, and the swing arm makes removal or remarking both time-consuming and obvious. Take clear, high-resolution photos of every marked part, showing the VIN, serials, and any melt marks or manufacturing codes, and store those images in multiple safe places. Record part numbers, dates, and any unique scratches or features that act like a fingerprint for the piece. If you ever need to prove ownership, having those records ready speeds up police recovery and insurance claims. Register your markings with national databases or local registries when possible. The moment a marked part shows up in a marketplace, a traceable VIN tied to your documentation makes it much less attractive to buyers and far more likely to be flagged by investigators. Share your inventory with your insurer. Documented proof of parts and serials often improves claim handling and can even lower premiums in some policies. This method doesn't physically stop theft, but it changes the economics of it. By making parts traceable and less liquid in the black market, you make your bike a bad investment for criminals. Etch, photograph, document, and register, and you turn stolen metal into identifiable evidence that leads back to you. Number 5. Anchor plus tilt/lift alarms. Vibration alarms are common, but they're blunt instruments. Bump the bike, and it yelps. What really stops the kind of theft that happens in seconds are sensors that understand motion the way a human thief moves: rotation, tilt, and lift. These alarms don't scream at a passing truck or a careless nudge. They trigger precisely when the bike's plane changes in a way that matches being picked up, rolled, or tilted for loading. That nuance makes them far more valuable. A thief reaching to wheel your bike into a van will tip the chassis or change the wheel angle. That exact signature is what these alarms watch for, and it's what makes them such an effective, immediate deterrent. A quality tilt or lift sensor is compact and mounts out of easy sight, under the seat, inside the tail, or within a hard-to-access cavity. When properly configured, it waits quietly until the bike leaves its normal orientation, then blasts a loud siren and can send a push notification to your phone. The combination of a loud local alarm and a simultaneous remote alert is critical. The siren draws attention from anyone nearby, while the notification lets you or a neighbor act quickly. Because the sensor responds to angular change rather than simple vibration, false alarms drop sharply when sensitivity is tuned to match your parking environment. You still need to test placement and sensitivity. Garages with sloping floors, tight spots, or heavy foot traffic require a different setup than a flat, open driveway. But once dialed in, these systems are reliable. Integration matters. Pair a tilt sensor with other security layers, an anchored chain, a hidden kill, or an implanted tracker. And the moment the alarm triggers, you get both noise and location data. That lets you notify police with a time-stamped location and increases the odds of fast recovery. Power management is another detail people miss. Choose sensors with efficient standby draw or a dedicated power source, so batteries don't die just when you need them. Finally, think psychologically. A concise, confident alarm that only sounds for real theft motions communicates to a thief that your bike is defended intelligently, not just loudly. Most opportunists test the waters and move on when something looks designed to catch them in the act. A tilt or lift alarm doesn't stop every attempt, but it converts a quick snatch into a public, noisy, and traceable event. And that's exactly the sort of problem thieves avoid. Number 4. Create a hostile environment parking setup. Thieves pick targets that make them invisible. If they can approach unseen, work unobserved, and leave without being noticed, your bike is a liability to them. Turn that equation on its head by creating a parking spot that feels watched, awkward to approach, and inconvenient to handle. The goal is simple. Every angle a thief needs to work from should either be visible to people or blocked by the environment. When the path to your bike looks like a slow public job instead of a quick theft, most opportunists move on. Start by thinking about sight lines. Park so windows, security cameras, and foot traffic naturally point toward your bike. Back the rear wheel to a wall or solid object, and face the front wheel out toward areas people walk or cameras see. That positioning denies easy rear access, where lifting and rolling usually happen, and presents the working side of the bike to potential witnesses. If you park in a shared lot, choose a spot near entrances, lit walkways, or the front of businesses. Staff movements, delivery drivers, and nighttime foot traffic are all invisible security if your bike is placed where people naturally pass. Make the approach awkward. Angle the bike so a thief can't easily get a dolly or trolley next to it without maneuvering around obstacles. Use the environment to your advantage. Park close to bollards, curbs, or raised planters when possible. Not to trap yourself, but to force a would-be thief into an awkward sequence of moves that take time and attract attention. A simple step that adds awkwardness, pointing the front wheel toward the flow of pedestrians rather than a quiet alley, turns a fast lift into a multi-step operation. Visibility isn't just physical, it's psychological. A bike parked in clear view of a busy cafe or a staffed reception suggests witnesses and cameras. That perception alone changes a thief's risk calculation. Test your setup at different times of day. What looks visible at noon might be hidden at midnight. Walk the route a thief would take and note blind spots. Move your bike a few feet and see whether it falls into someone's line of sight. Over time, you'll learn which spots are quietly hostile and which are accidentally permissive. A hostile environment doesn't require fencing or heavy locks, though you should use those too. It's about habit and placement, choosing the right angle, the right spot, and the right time to park so your bike becomes an unappealing project, not a quick prize. Make your parking do the guarding, and you'll cut theft risk long before a thief ever touches your chain. Number 3. Use decoy parts and sacrificial bolts. If you want to steal time from a thief, give them something obvious to fight with. Decoy parts and sacrificial bolts are simple, low-cost tricks that turn a quick snatch into a confusing, slow job. The idea? Present a tempting target that looks like the key to getting your bike gone fast, but in reality, wastes the thief's first minute while they tinker with the wrong fastener or pry at a dummy lock. That lost minute is often all you need, the kind of delay that makes a thief look for an easier mark down the street. A well-designed decoy blends right in. Fit a visibly removable seat catch that appears to lock a compartment, add a cheap-looking bolt on an obvious mounting point, or install a dummy latch that screams, "Tamper here," under dim light. Thieves are trained to spot and attack weak points quickly. A sacrificial bolt that shears or a fake lock that reveals nothing forces them to stop and reassess. They don't want to be seen fumbling with the wrong spot, so many will bail after the first frustrating minute. Make the decoy look genuine. Match paint tones, avoid obvious hacks, and place it where someone in a hurry would reach first. That said, design decoys responsibly. Never substitute a sacrificial fastener for structural hardware, and don't interfere with safety features. Use non-structural panels, accessory mounts, or cosmetic covers for your decoys so you're not compromising integrity for security theater. Rotate and refresh decoys occasionally. A repeated pattern that always yields nothing will eventually be learned by local thieves. Pair the decoy with real security measures, an anchored chain, a hidden kill, or a tracker, so the wasted minute blends into a layered defense rather than a standalone bluff. A surprising psychological effect comes into play. A bike that looks worked on, or complicated signals an owner who thinks about security. Experienced thieves interpret that as increased risk, and many won't engage at all. Decoy parts don't make your bike theft-proof, but they change the mental script a thief follows. They turn certainty into doubt, speed into hesitation, and a clean grab into a noisy, visible job. Small, deliberate deception done correctly is cheap, reversible, and remarkably effective at turning your motorcycle from an inviting prize into someone else's problem. Number 2. Register and network with recovery systems. Security isn't only mechanical, it's social and systemic. When a bike disappears, the fastest recoveries almost always happen because someone recognized a VIN, a serial, or a distinctive part, and raised the alarm. That's the logic behind registration and networking. Turn your motorcycle from anonymous metal into a traceable public asset. Enrolling your VIN in national and local databases, posting a photographed parts inventory to trusted registries, and plugging into community recovery groups changes the equation for thieves. It means every marked part they try to sell carries a risk. Every resold machine can be checked against a database, and every suspicious listing can be flagged quickly. Think of it as setting traps that don't require you to watch the bike 24/7. A stolen bike that's registered and widely visible in recovery networks is harder to fence because buyers and dealers can run a quick check and see the history. That visibility slows the black market and makes thieves choose softer, unregistered targets. The process also gives you practical leverage. If a part or bike turns up online or at a swap meet, you've already got date-stamped photos, serial numbers, and registration records to present to police and marketplaces, which speeds recovery and supports insurance claims. Don't rely on a single registry. Use national services where available, local police reporting tools, and motorcycle-specific networks that share stolen bike alerts with shops and online marketplaces. Join neighborhood groups and rider communities that actively monitor listings and report suspicious activity. Share your documented inventory with your insurer and save copies off-device so they aren't lost if your phone goes missing. Treat these steps as routine maintenance. Update records after modifications, add photos when you change parts, and keep contact information current so alerts reach the right people fast. Registration doesn't prevent a theft in the moment, but it turns theft into a trackable event that's far likelier to end with recovery. It raises the cost of selling stolen goods, amplifies police and community response, and transforms your bike from an anonymous commodity into a traceable piece of property. In a world where speed helps thieves, visibility helps you, and the networks you build beforehand are the difference between a lost bike and a found one. Number 1. Insurance and sale friction signage. You can't physically stop every attempt, but you can make a thief's haul unsellable. Placing clear, permanent markers of traceability on your motorcycle, insurance decals, VIN registration stickers, and parts traced, or marked and recorded badges, turns a quick theft into a long-term headache for the criminal. These visual cues do something simple but powerful. They add friction to the one thing every thief depends on, which is speed of sale. When a buyer, fence, or online marketplace sees a machine or part that's marked, the resale path narrows and the risk rises. That change in the market is exactly what stops most opportunists. Put these markers where they're visible without being destructive. A small durable insurance decal near the tail or under the seat, a discreet VIN etch on an exposed engine case, and a tasteful "Parts Traced" sticker on the swing arm communicate that this bike won't disappear quietly. The goal isn't to advertise value, it's to advertise traceability. If a prospective thief believes many of the bike's parts are traceable, or that the machine is already flagged in registries, their calculus shifts from easy prize to paperwork nightmare. That perceived cost is what sends them elsewhere. Back the signage with documentation. Keep copies of your registration, etch records, and time-stamped photos accessible to police and resale platforms. If a marked part shows up online, your paperwork speeds complaint filing and makes marketplaces more likely to take the listing down. Work with your insurer. Some providers will supply stickers or registry services, and having your bike registered with them often streamlines claims if theft happens. Finally, make these marks part of your routine security posture. Combine visible traceability with physical defenses and tracking. An anchored chain around a clearly marked chassis and a hidden tracker inside a marked frame is far less attractive than an identical unmarked bike. The visual cue alone rarely stops a determined thief, but it makes the stolen goods much harder to move and far more visible to law enforcement and buyers. In short, signage doesn't lock the wheel or cut power, but it changes the criminal market around your bike, turning what looked like a quick score into an unsellable, traceable problem. And most thieves prefer easy rewards to long investigations.